Pernell Roberts was more than just the smart, handsome actor who played Adam Cartwright on the classic TV show Bonanza. He was a man of strong beliefs, deep intelligence, and unshakable principles. Born in 1928 in Waycross, Georgia, Roberts grew up in a simple Southern home where honesty and hard work were valued. From a young age, he loved music and performance. He played instruments in his school and Marine Corps bands, and later joined small stage shows. But what made Roberts truly different was his belief that acting should mean something. It should tell the truth about life, not just entertain. He was not afraid to speak his mind, even when it made others uncomfortable. In Hollywood, where most people tried to please producers and fans, Pernell was the rare man who would rather lose fame than lose his self. This strong personality led to many clashes throughout his career, especially with some of the biggest names in show business. Before his death in 2010, Roberts reportedly spoke honestly about the actors he respected the least, not out of hate for their talent, but because their values and choices clashed deeply with his own. Roberts's path to fame was far from easy. After finishing school, he first tried studying engineering at Georgia Tech, but soon realized that it wasn't the life he wanted. He joined the United States Marine Corps, where he served for 2 years. His time there taught him discipline and gave him the strength he carried throughout his life. After leaving the Marines, he attended the University of Maryland and joined its student theater program. That's where his true passion for acting was born. However, instead of finishing his degree, Roberts took a big risk and moved to New York City to chase his dream. He worked small jobs to survive while studying at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. His dedication finally paid off when he landed his first professional stage role in The Man Who Came to Dinner in 1952. From there, he built a reputation as a serious stage actor with a deep, commanding voice and a powerful presence. Roberts's early years proved that he was not afraid of hard work, but they also showed that he would never compromise his principles for comfort. Roberts's life changed forever when he was cast as Adam Cartwright in Bonanza, one of the most popular television shows of its time. The series was about a strong father, Ben Cartwright, and his 3 sons living on the Ponderosa Ranch. The show became an instant success, making its cast famous across America. Roberts's character was loved by millions, intelligent, calm, and morally grounded. However, despite the fame and the large paycheck, Pernell was not happy. He grew frustrated with the shallow storylines and what he saw as weak writing. He wanted Bonanza to explore deeper human issues and real-life challenges, but the producers preferred to keep it simple and family-friendly. Roberts openly criticized the lack of realism in the show, which caused tension on set. By 1965, he made a shocking decision. He quit Bonanza at the height of its success. Many thought this move would destroy his career, but Roberts didn't care. For him, truth mattered more than popularity. His exit from the show marked him as Hollywood's most fearless rebel, a man who refused to play along with empty success. One of the most well-known tensions in Roberts's life was with his Bonanza co-star, Michael Landon, who played Little Joe. At first, the two got along well, but problems soon started. As Landon became more popular, he began writing and directing episodes of the show. Roberts felt that Landon used his new power to give himself more screen time while reducing other actors' roles. Roberts once accused him of caring more about his image than about the quality of the show. He even told Landon, "You're not trying to make the show better, you're just trying to make yourself bigger." Their relationship quickly turned cold. Off-screen, Roberts thought Landon was charming but fake, calling him a media darling who acted deep on camera but stayed shallow in real life. When Roberts left Bonanza, Landon didn't say a word in support, which hurt him deeply. Later, when Landon created Little House on the Prairie, Roberts reportedly dismissed it as the same old saintly cowboy act. Their clash wasn't just about fame, it was about values. Roberts believed in truth, while Landon believed in success. Roberts's relationship with Dan Blocker, who played the gentle Hoss Cartwright, began as a friendship built on mutual respect. Both were trained stage actors who cared deeply about their craft. But as Roberts became more outspoken about Bonanza's weak scripts and lack of social awareness, Blocker chose to stay quiet. Roberts felt betrayed by his friend's silence. He wanted Blocker to stand beside him in demanding better stories and respect for Native American characters. Once, Roberts even walked off set during a scene he thought was racist, while Blocker continued filming. Roberts later said, "Dan had kindness, but no courage. He chose comfort over conscience." That moment marked the end of their friendship. Blocker never spoke against Roberts, but he also never defended him. For Roberts, that silence hurt more than any open argument. It showed how Hollywood could change even the kindest people, making them afraid to risk their careers for the truth. Another memorable feud was with Chuck Connors, the tall, confident star of The Rifleman. The two met at a charity event celebrating Western TV legends. Connors was popular with fans, but behind the scenes, Roberts saw a different side, an arrogant man who treated assistants poorly and acted superior to others. When Roberts saw Connors yell at a staff member, he couldn't stay silent. Backstage, He confronted Connors and called him out for his rude behavior. The argument quickly got heated. Connors reportedly fired back, calling Roberts a bitter quitter who couldn't handle fame. Roberts, in turn, called Connors a fraud and all hat, no soul. They never spoke again. For Roberts, this wasn't just personal anger, it was about integrity. He couldn't stand people who disrespected others just because they were famous. To him, true greatness came from character, not applause. This fight showed the deep moral divide between Roberts and many Hollywood stars of his era. Perhaps the most emotional and famous of all Roberts's conflicts was with Lorne Greene, who played his on-screen father, Ben Cartwright. On TV, their relationship looked warm and respectful, but behind the camera, things were different. Greene believed in following the producer's orders and keeping peace on set, while Roberts constantly pushed for better writing and realism. Roberts felt that Greene's obedience to the studio made him part of the problem. He wanted the show to show more real moral struggles, but Greene preferred to stick to the safe, family-friendly formula. Their creative disagreements soon turned personal. Roberts felt that Greene used his seniority to control others and that the younger cast treated him like a real father, which Roberts resented. When he finally quit Bonanza, Roberts said, "I refused to spend my life pulling off my hat and saying yes PA to the world." Greene was the perfect TV father, but to Roberts, he symbolized everything fake and easy about Hollywood. Roberts's fifth major clash wasn't about ego or fame, it was about politics and morality. James Drury, star of The Virginian, was known as a conservative man who preferred to keep politics out of entertainment. Roberts, on the other hand, was a proud activist who fought against racism and injustice. The two met during a televised panel discussion about television's future. Roberts argued that TV should deal with real-world issues like inequality and war, while Drury said audiences just wanted simple entertainment. Their debate got heated, and they refused to shake hands afterward. Roberts later said Drury represented the kind of silence that allows injustice to continue. For him, staying quiet was the same as supporting the wrong side. This clash showed how deeply Roberts cared about truth and fairness, even when it cost him friendships. He believed that actors had a duty to use their fame for good, not just to stay popular, though many saw Roberts as difficult or stubborn. He was simply a man who couldn't live against his own beliefs. His personal life, however, was far from perfect. He married 4 times, and all but the last ended in divorce. His first wife, Vera, gave birth to his only son, Jonathan, whom he loved deeply. But fame and distance made their relationship difficult. In 1989, tragedy struck when Jonathan died in a motorcycle accident at just 38 years old. The loss broke Roberts's heart. Friends said he was never the same afterward. Even as he found peace with his 4th wife, Eleanor, the pain of losing his son and his earlier struggles never truly left him. In private, Roberts was quiet and thoughtful, not angry or proud, but deeply reflective. Behind the strong opinions was a man who wanted a better, fairer world. In his later years, Roberts stepped away from the spotlight. After leaving Bonanza, he continued acting in theater and television, but always chose roles that matched his moral beliefs. Hollywood has always been a place where being polite and agreeable can open doors. But Pernell Roberts never cared about that. While most actors learned to smile, shake hands, and stay quiet about what bothered them, Roberts did the opposite. He questioned everything: the scripts, the producers, the message, and even his own Many executives labeled him as difficult to work with, but those who really knew him said he just wanted honesty. Roberts once said in an interview, "If a man can't speak the truth about his work, then he doesn't deserve to call himself an artist." That statement summed up his life. Instead of chasing awards or publicity, Roberts cared more about the art and the meaning behind it. When he left Bonanza, he refused all offers that didn't meet his standards. He was offered roles in other westerns, but he turned most of them down, saying he didn't want to play another cowboy who solves problems with a gun. In a world obsessed with fame, Roberts's refusal to compromise made him both respected and misunderstood. Some saw him as arrogant, but others saw him as one of the few actors who still had a moral backbone in a fake world. One of the things that separated Pernell Roberts from his peers was his strong belief in equality and justice. During the 1960s, when civil rights protests filled the streets, Roberts openly supported African American rights and even marched alongside activists in Los Angeles. He criticized Hollywood for giving minorities small, stereotypical roles and demanded that studios hire more diverse talent. This was risky at the time. Many actors stayed silent, fearing it would hurt their careers. But Roberts didn't care. He once refused to appear in an episode of Bonanza that he thought treated Native Americans unfairly. The producers were furious, but Roberts stood his ground. Later, he said, "If you don't fight for what's right, then you're helping what's wrong." These moments showed his character more than any award ever could. While others sought popularity, Roberts sought truth. He believed that being an actor meant having a voice, and he used his to fight against injustice, even when it cost him roles, friends, and money. After leaving Bonanza, Roberts spent much of the late 1960s and early 1970s away from the spotlight. He returned to the theater, performing in plays such as Macbeth, The Taming of the Shrew, and The Glass Menagerie. Audiences and critics praised his deep, emotional acting, calling him one of the best stage performers of his time. Yet Hollywood producers avoided him, afraid he might cause trouble on set. This period was difficult for Roberts. He had gone from being one of TV's biggest stars to struggling for meaningful roles. Still, he refused to give up his integrity. Friends said he was lonely but peaceful, often spending his evenings reading philosophy books or hiking in the hills. He became more spiritual, focusing on inner growth rather than fame. In interviews, he spoke about how fake Hollywood life felt, saying, "They sell dreams while living nightmares." Despite the career slowdown, Roberts never regretted his choices. He knew that living honestly was more important than living comfortably. In 1979, after more than a decade of smaller roles, Roberts made a surprising comeback with the television series Trapper John. MD. The show was a medical drama and a spin-off of MASH, set several years later. Roberts played Dr. John McIntyre, a wise and caring surgeon who mentored younger doctors. This time, audiences saw a different side of him, mature, thoughtful, and compassionate. The show became a big success, running for 7 seasons, from 1979 to 1986. Many viewers who had known Roberts only as Adam Cartwright now saw him as a calm, fatherly figure who helped people heal. The irony was clear. The same man who once rebelled against playing a PA role on Bonanza now played a mentor, but this time, he was in charge of how that character was written. Roberts made sure Trapper John MD focused on real human emotions and social issues. He even suggested storylines that dealt with moral questions about life, death, and responsibility. The show's success proved that Roberts didn't need to change his beliefs to succeed. He just needed the right project. When people talk about the 5 actors Pernell Roberts supposedly hated, it's easy to misunderstand him. He didn't hate them in the childish sense. He wasn't jealous or bitter. Instead, each of those actors symbolized something Roberts couldn't stand about Hollywood. Michael Landon represented ambition without honesty. Don Blocker represented kindness without courage. Chuck Connors symbolized arrogance without compassion. Lorne Greene symbolized authority without truth. And James Drury symbolized silence in the face of injustice. For Roberts, each man stood for a moral failure he refused to accept. These enemies weren't personal rivals. They were reminders of the choices Roberts refused to make. In many ways, his dislike for them said more about his own character than theirs. He didn't want to fit into Hollywood's mold of smiling, pretending, and staying quiet. To him, truth mattered more than comfort, and authenticity mattered more than approval. So, when he spoke harshly about these actors before his death, he wasn't spreading hate, he was leaving behind lessons about integrity, courage, and staying true to oneself. Despite his strong will, Roberts was still human. He made mistakes, especially in his personal life. His 4 marriages showed how difficult it was for someone like him, who valued truth and independence, to live peacefully in relationships. His first marriage to Vera Mori was full of love, but also full of conflict. She admired his passion but couldn't handle his constant intensity. His later marriages were shorter, mostly ending because Roberts couldn't stay silent or fake happiness. He admitted once in an interview, "I was too honest for my own good. Some truths should be spoken gently. I never learned that." Still, his last marriage to Eleanor Criswell was peaceful. She understood his complexity and helped him find calm in his later years. They lived quietly by the ocean, far from the noise of Hollywood. Friends said Roberts often sat on his porch watching the sunset, thinking about his life, the choices he made, the people he hurt, and the peace he finally found. Roberts' story also reveals the darker side of fame. On television, he looked confident and happy, but behind the scenes, he often battled depression and isolation. Being labeled difficult made him an outsider in Hollywood, and he lost many friends because of it. Some producers even warned others not to hire him, but Roberts accepted it quietly. "They can take the job," he once said, "but they can't take my soul." Even when he wasn't working, he refused to appear in commercials or cheap cameos just for money. He lived simply, driving an old car and wearing plain clothes. Fame had once promised him happiness, but he realized that the more famous you become, the lonelier you get.